So today we're going to do the service on Ben's DR200. How old are you now?
16.
He's 16. So we're trying to get him into the MSF course this year, and then he will be able to, according to this state, once he has the course, he'll be able to take the written test at the DMV, and he will have a motorcycle license. No learner's permit like I did for 2 or 3 years with restrictions and all that junk. And then once he does that at 16, that's going to be his daily driver. So let's go do the oil change. So what we're gonna do is, this has the oil change from the BMW in it. What we're gonna do is take that to our local auto parts store, dump it, and buy fresh 10W40, probably synthetic or synthetic blend, for Ben's bike. They let you dump the oil for free. I don't know about the oil filter, we'll see how that goes, but there's probably enough room in this, but why not just go ahead and do it, right, since we're going to be there. I have 4 quarts of 10W40 Pennzoil, but it's all dyno oil, not synthetic, and I have no idea how old it is, so actually we should dump that one half and maybe one of the other. Let's do that. We're going to get rid of some of that while we're talking about it. This is kind of wasteful, but it's bad. No, I don't know. It's probably fine. This oil is well over 10 years old, so like I said, why take a chance? What we'll do is when we change the motorcycle oil, we'll dump the rest, 1 more or 2 more, just to get rid of it.
So just put that this way.
I have no idea how old this is either. This is newer though, it's probably fine. The thing I can't figure is why in the heck do I have 10W40? I never had anything that took it.
Motor.
Maybe it was the cold wind, which makes this stuff over 15 years old. I have no idea if that's a good or not, so I don't know. I'm not gonna mess with it. We're not gonna mess with it. We're not gonna take a chance. Why burn a motor up over a few dollars worth of oil, right? So let's go to the auto parts store. We'll catch you guys in a minute. So we ordered that one on Amazon a year ago, and we're just now going to use it. You want to tell them what we did?
I ordered the oil, bought some more, ordered a new filter.
So we ordered a filter to replace this. What we got a Fram instead of a Wix, which I think they're made by the same company anyway. K&N was an option at AutoZone, but we just went ahead with the Fram. I don't think we'll change it more often than that. And we bought 2 quarts. The bike takes 1 quart from everything I'm reading. You too?
As far as
that's what you're finding. So the bike takes 1 quart. We bought 2 quarts, and we bought an extra filter. So you've got a whole nother oil change in stock. And what we'll do next time is we will buy a quart and a filter, come back, stick it on the shelf, and use the one we have. Good practice. You never know when you're going to go down and order the stuff and they go, oh, it'll be like 6 weeks because the factory got burned down or something, you know what I'm saying, and we're out of them. So this way you've always got your oil change when you need it. And I don't know how I got that on me. Anyway, we're going to empty the garage. We're going to pull Ben's bike up and get set up, and we'll start changing. Cue the music montage. All right, Mr. Ben. Now, you got a pretty good idea what we're doing now, right? Yeah. How'd we get a good idea what we're doing?
I watched a video
on YouTube. So, Mr. Ben has his oil filter. He's got his 10mm socket. And we do not know the torque spec for these things. We should know them, but we don't. He's got the torques. He's got the 10mm for the oil filter housing. And then he's got the 17mm for the drain plugs. You've got an oil funnel over there, right? Let's see that real quick. So we've got the oil funnel for filling the thing back up. Really cool. Why is it in a bag?
So it doesn't get dirty.
There you go. If you look at this, oil collects dust, and we're in a very dusty environment. So I put the funnel in there so we're not putting contaminated oil into the motor. So that's a good deal. So what's the first step, Mr. Ben? What are you going to do first?
Move this, but it's
pretty tight.
yeah.
Let me give it a shot. Oh, that hurt. Yes, it was very tight. Almost took pliers. Why?
So it won't create a vacuum.
What does it happen if you create a vacuum?
I'm guessing the oil won't.
The oil won't drain, right? Okay. Very cool. Let it breathe. So, speaking of letting it breathe, we need to pop the cap there so the oil can get in. You just lay it up there on the side. There you go. And then letting it breathe is a big deal, so we have to pop this one too, for the exact same reason you're popping it on the bike. So what's next?
To remove the bottom.
You're gonna drain the oil now?
Bottom drain wheel.
All right, let's do that then. I get confused going upside down.
Yeah.
So what I do, you see a wrench? What I do is I know straight up and down, this is loose, and the other way is tight, right? Click, 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 tight. So I check it up here, and then I go, okay, now I'm ready to go.
So
yeah, that way, because I get confused, and even after 20 some years working on stuff for a living, you know, I still get confused sometimes. So this is how I check it.
this is correct.
You got it. You were right. You had it. Apparently Ben doesn't have the same type of retardation. Now, what did we talk about on putting torque on this?
Putting the opposite way.
So one of the things we're going to do is putting torque on it. We're going to push towards the kickstand. We're not pulling towards us because we don't want to pull the bike over on ourselves. and if it does fall. So, good job. Oops. Hello.
Loose.
It broke loose? Cool. So you're ready to drain. Now this is where your hands are going to get dirty. There you go. That all doesn't look bad. So this certainly, in the few years that we've had this bike, it has not got enough miles on it to warrant an oil change for mileage. But it has been a couple of years since we bought it, and just on the time, it's time to change the oil. Another reason we're getting into this now is, like I said earlier, Ben's 16. He's going to be doing his MSF course and then hopefully getting his license, and then he'll be able to use this as his daily driver until we can get him something bigger, which I'm anticipating you're going to outgrow this thing pretty quick driving it every day. You're going to start realizing, oh man, this thing's got no power, and I wish I had a little more power. And
So can you just went down?
I see us moving you to a bigger bike pretty quickly. You know it? Yeah, you can wipe that off. You can clean that up. If you were irresponsible, I would be worried about you riding a bicycle or a motorcycle at all, but you're pretty laid back, dude. I don't think you're gonna give me any fits or problems crashing into stuff or running over little old ladies on the sidewalk or playing GTA or in real life. Probably be upgrading you pretty quick. So another thing we ran into is the battery is really, really low because it's sat for so long. So, you standing it up to drain it better? Pretty good. There's a little battery. Woohoo! All right, let's let it keep draining on its side. Let's do the filter. Because it's still draining. That's pretty good. So that's your 10 millimeter, right?
Yep.
Did we have trouble finding the 10 millimeter socket?
No.
No. Stop it with the dang memes already. Where's my 10 millimeter? I have extras because I know I need them. Okay, so again, the direction of the wrench, if you're pulling up, you're making the bike lighter and you're pulling it towards the kickstand, right? If you're pulling forward, you're pulling the bike forward. So if you're on the bottom and pulling forward, if you're on the bottom and pulling forward, you're pulling the bike forward. If you're in the back and pushing down, you're pushing against the ground, right? So it kind of matters. I would do it with the handle of the wrench towards the back, and then you're going to be pushing down. Nope, that's tightening. Towards the back. The thing you do want to do though is make sure that you're not knuckle busting. So I'll show you something real quick if you want to see it. Okay. Let me put this right here. So one thing you did learn from the video, this isn't a lot of torque on this, right? That's loosen. We know that's loosen, right? So what you're gonna do is put that on there. And I don't want to wrap my hand around that and then have it give like it did earlier, where you smack the camera and smack that, because that's gonna hurt like hell, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of cup it and go. So I'm catching it and I'm kind of holding it in place, and I'm just going into my hand. I hope that's catching that. I think I'm in the way, but anyway, you do the last one. But you want to do it against the ground, not lifting up on the bike or moving the bike forward, that kind of thing, right? It's kind of important since you're running a precarious since you're precariously perched. Yeah, make sure it's on there though before you smack it, because that looks crooked. Because if it's not, it'll round that nut. There you go. Push it all the way. There you go. Yeah, you can do that too. You don't have to use your hand to hit it either. You get like a dead blow hammer, one of that rubber mallet. A dead blow hammer's better. It's full of lead shot in it.
Oh.
I'm gonna move you over here so that when it drips out onto the deal.
That's by hand.
Cool. How's that look?
That's cool.
Looks like your opening's pretty good too. It didn't even come off.
Yeah.
Let's take it off and look at it. How's it look?
It's not flat.
There's no flat spots?
Not as far as I know.
I know it wasn't leaking. It's still supple and it stretches good. So there's plenty of stretch in this, plenty of give. There's no little cracks. It doesn't have any radical flat spots. You can, and you have the option, because that filter came with another one. So you can reuse this if you want and hold that other one in reserve. Or you can go ahead and replace it. And I'll tell you almost what I would do is I would go ahead and put the new one in, stick this in a Ziploc bag with a little bit of oil on it, and keep this one, because there's nothing wrong with it. Cool. Yeah, there's a little O-ring there too in the back of that.
Yeah, that's it.
How's that one look?
Stayed on the back of it.
Stay on the back. Is it flat? I see a little bit of a nick there. No, it's not bad. So what are you looking at your oil filter for?
Did some metal shadings.
See any metallic? You look like sparkles.
Tiny.
See anything like that?
Tiny bit. Oh. A lot.
No, I don't.
There's a tiny bit.
I see what looks like carbon.
Carbon?
Yeah. But it's not, it's dark. It's not, yeah, let me have one of those too. The other one, would you? So we're seeing a little bit of dark specks in there. I don't think that's anything to worry about, to be honest. Thank you. Wipe that off my hands. That's carbon buildup, probably from the thing running so rich. Because we are running this a bit rich. You can smell it in the exhaust. The jet's a little bit large. You're getting a little more power out of it that way, but
Clean out the oil that's sitting in there.
with a paper towel I would. I wouldn't with that t-shirt. There's been junk on that. Clean the cavity out. How you looking? Yeah, looks good. This stuff out of the way here. You can hang on to those O-rings. You've ordered another one, so it should have that with it. That looks suspiciously like a sandwich bag. Remember when we got this? I took it, put it in there, and said it'll be a while before we use it. Alright, so there's your two O-rings. Now, this looks like the one that you've got. Let's see that one. It's got that weird thing, you see that? But one side's sealed, just like that one. They're the same size hole. Same length, same diameter, same filter. Cool. Looks good to me. Look good to you?
Open.
So the open one went in, right?
So,
Yeah. It's got to go around that hole. So the O-ring's going to go... Let's hang on a second. Let me have that tag. Yeah. Sorry. I didn't mean to get wet on my fingers. Alright. So put it in there. See the hole that goes on. Go ahead and put your O-ring. Good job. That's how that O-ring goes in there. Oops, sorry.
so.
Yep. And then the filter. Yeah.
Bolts.
You got your new O-ring in the cap, right?
Yep.
And the spring's good?
Yep.
So the spring should contact way before the rest of it, right? It's kind of hard to mess that up, isn't it? It's pretty simple. Okay. Now you're going to use that like a regular wrench, not a torque wrench.
Just to get it snug.
And like this guy said in the video, and I agree with him, snug and a touch more. You don't have to go crazy on it. It doesn't need to be browbeat into submission or over tightened. You are going to have to get it off again. And if you have to remove those studs from that engine housing, you're going to be very unhappy. Yeah, that's a good idea too. Put like a quarter turn on each one until they're all three of them, to the point of taking that snug. You know what I mean by a quarter turn, right?
What you mean, just
Like if you're here and you bring it down 90 degrees, that's 1/4 of a full revolution. 1/4 of a full revolution is what we call a quarter turn. So. Feels good?
just this one needs to be tightened a bit more.
Let's see how you feel in there. Yeah, you're right. You want to feel it? Put just a touch more snug on it. Feels good?
Yeah.
A little maybe too tight. It's alright, it'll be alright. Cool. So you changed your filter.
Now you just need to put the
Plug back.
plug. This one.
Oh, you want me to stand it up for a second?
Yeah,
See if any more drains out? How's it looking?
and it just dropped.
Okay, we're good then. So you can do this on the side stand if you're careful. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, when you moved it back,
It's draining now?
yeah.
That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. That's fact. How about now?
What's up, Bill?
Ooh, yeah. It honestly doesn't have to be perfect. Because the oil wasn't that bad a shape, to be honest. So we didn't see any sparkly looking stuff in the filter.
No.
We didn't see any sparkly looking stuff in the filter housing. But there was a little bit of carbon buildup in there, right?
Yeah.
And then we did see, we didn't see any in the oil itself, so that's pretty good. So there you go. So we need to look up the owner's manual for this bike.
Yeah.
And get the torque specs on this stuff. Tell you another thing, rebuilding the engine on these is not difficult at all. Just a single cylinder, it's so easy. Something we didn't do on this go around too is change the spark plug. Why?
Because you need it.
Yeah, it doesn't have any miles, it hasn't run that many hours. The big thing is really the oil's been setting so long. Do we know how to check the air filter? I don't either. We're gonna need to do it. Not today though. That'll be for another video, right? This isn't a full service, this is just a... How you feeling?
Is
that the right one?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm doing it the wrong way, but... Oh yeah, you're good. You did good. It didn't need what it just did. Didn't hurt it, but it didn't need it. So cool.
Now we can do it.
Now you're ready to put oil in. Forewarned is forearmed, and an ounce of preparation is worth a pound to cure. That is absolutely clean. And why?
So we won't contaminate the fresh oil.
Because we put it away right the last time. What are we going to do this time?
Put it away again.
Ah, good job. So we went to AutoZone and dumped our oil for free like we talked about. And Ben chose Mobile 1 10W40 Advanced Full Synthetic. So I agree with this. Castrol's okay. I like Mobile 1 too. They had both. They're both about 11 bucks a quart, so it's worth it. It's worth it to spend a little bit of money to take care of an investment, which is what this is. Yeah? That's all right. You're going to use the whole thing pretty much. Go slow. You're watching your sight glass, remember?
Can't really see it. Or
Go ahead and get back on one knee. Yeah. You know the bike takes a quart, so you can pour like 3/4 in there, but after that you need to kind of go real slow and watch what you're doing, because when it hits the bottom, then you're going to have to really go slow. You want to get it right up to the top.
shine a light on it so you can see what's happening.
Oh yeah, I can definitely do that. No. Did it just take all of it? Wow. Nothing. I knew we should have bought 3 of them. It's alright. When we go pick up your oil filter, we'll buy another one. Yeah. That way you'll have one to keep it full on if it burns oil. I'm going to stand it up a little. Oh, actually you're there.
It'll hit the thing.
Huh?
It'll hit over the
that's actually good. You're fine. So it takes exactly 1 quart. Cool.
Yeah, clean this up.
Yep. That's what the paper towel's for.
No, I'm dirty.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You quit dripping all over the floor, though. There you go.
Dirty though.
Yeah, and use the clean parts of it. And then just wipe the funnel out, get the excess oil out of it. Where are you going, Miss Kitty? There you go. Looks good, real good, real good.
Well,
There we go, and now we're ready for next time. Wachoo. Cool. What's that?
it's done.
Done. So, battery's still drawing the amps. So too cool. There's Mr. Ben changing oil on his bike. We're gonna edit back and come back to you when the battery's charged and we can actually start the thing. Ouch. We'll see you guys in a minute. So we didn't have to wait that long, did we? No. Just a few more. We probably waited, what, 20 minutes? Long enough to go wash our hands and talk about it for a minute. You want to go ahead and start it?
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha. So, oops. It's still cold. It's not hot. It's not cold. It's warm, but we've got no leaks anywhere that I'm seeing. Underneath, hopefully you can see that. Nothing's leaking. It's running good. Go ahead and start it again. Sounds good, doesn't it? Alright, go ahead and shut it off. Sounds healthier than it did too. I don't know. Maybe that's the oil change.
Filter.
So on an auto ranging multimeter, you'll just have a digital display. This isn't that fancy. This is old school stuff. So
Inserts in the hot.
well, that's all right. We still got the hot lead is broken and missing, but that's okay. We're not really concerned. So what we're gonna do is over here in volts DC, and on the auto ranging meter, that's the line with the dotted line, right?
Yeah.
Direct current. ... The one with the wavy line is alternating current. Anyway, on volts DC, we're going to go switch it to 15, and then we're going to see where we're at with and without the bike running. So let me get where you're at so I can get at this. So this should... Good Lord. It'd be really nice if the hot one still had its lead. So we should read 12 there, and then it should peg when you start it. It should drop while you're starting it, and then when it's running, it should peg. So go ahead and do that. Yeah. Shut it off. Yeah, it did all right. Couldn't really tell.
It went down a bit and then went back up.
Yeah, it went up higher though, I think. I don't know. Can't really tell. That's why I don't use these, because it stops at 15, and if you're setting at 14 because you just ran it, if you're setting at 14 because you just ran it, and then you're charging at 15, you're not going to see a lot on the needle, a lot of movement, and it's pegged either way. So that's why I don't use this anymore. But the auto ranging gives you tenths of a volt, so you can see that you're charging. I'm pretty sure it's charging. It'll look like it moved higher. So the other thing is, we just ran the air compressor. You got to check your tire pressure, and then you'd probably be good to ride it. That you got to be able to see this thing pop it.
It's not.
This thing might be a piece of junk too. Oh, your tire's flat. So you need the thing off the toolbox. That's why we're doing this. See how the stem went in?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Push it in.
Push it in and then push the handle. There you go. You can see it.
It's working.
Yeah. Check it. Alright, you back this up with your finger. That'll get it on there. This is one of those things you can manhandle. You need to be rough with it. So that's 30 psi. What are you supposed to be at?
When was that last time? It was on this.
I don't remember. It's on there somewhere though. It's on there somewhere.
I think. Yes. PK.
KPA?
K. PKL.
Oh, no. Jeez, dude. Yeah. 33 psi cold.
33.
So you're at 30. That's fine. 30's fine. And now the back tire. It's on the other side, isn't it?
I think it's 33 as well.
Okay. If that's what it says, then that's what it is. I'll just use the thing on the deal you got. That's a cheap piece of junk anyway. I don't know why I do that to you.
Hey, this one's not flat though. Oh. 60?
I don't think so.
It's very high, but I can't get a good enough hold on to it.
You need a good seal. There you go, where it's not leaking.
10, around there.
10? That sounds a little more realistic. Go ahead and put air in it. Probably
20.
20, a little more. Almost 30, a little more.
Right there.
Gotta get that seal. And some more air. There you go. That's good. And then your cap. Put your cap back on. Oh, you put it in your pocket? So, if you'll put all that stuff up and go get your helmet, and I'll meet you out in the street. How does that sound? So there's oil change, basic maintenance, not the full service. We didn't check the air filter. We're going to have to look up how to do that and eventually do that. The oil change, got the battery charged up, made sure the charging system is working. We kind of already knew it was. Aired the tires up. The bike's been sitting for a long time, so I took it and ran it down the street real quick and found that the secondary jet in the carburetor, the primary jet, when we first started it, we had to crank it for a long time, right? The reason is the petcock in that, the fuel shutoff system, is vacuum operated. So when the engine's cranking over, it's drawing vacuum in the crankcase as opposed to the pressure that builds in the cylinder, right? That vacuum is used to open the fuel and let it flow into the carburetor. Now the fuel that was in the carburetor had dried out. So that's why it took so long when we cranked it over. Crank forever, right? That's why it took so long to rotten cat. That's why it took so long to get it to turn over. When it started turning over, it started drawing through the primary jet. When it went to go down the road, it bogged, it didn't want to go because the secondary jet was plugged up with fuel gum. So when the fuel dries, it leaves a residue and it plugged that little jet up, the small jet. Anyway, there's a service. We know it runs. Ben's going to run it up and down the street a little bit and see how he does. Like I say, he's going for his MSF course this year. Hopefully this year, get him his license. Go hit it. So yeah, Ben's going to be able to get his motorcycle license here. Hopefully in the next few months. Pretty cool, pretty cool. There's something about watching your kids grow up. You start realizing how valuable time is when you start getting towards the end of their childhood. And at 16, that white helmet is the white helmet I'm wearing in my profile picture for this channel, and the helmet that I bought them for the boys to learn how to ride on. Well, Gabe broke the first one, but the second one I bought they've outgrown. Now Mama can still wear it, but she doesn't ride, so you know, Becca wears it when me and Becca go someplace. But Gabe's wearing my helmet, or Gabe. Anyway, Ben's wearing my helmet, and that's just kind of a trip. Sounds like he killed it. Maybe I turned the throttle down a little too much on the carburetor. Anyway, there you go. Oil change on a DR200, easy peasy. There's a link in the description down below to a video. They don't need any advertisement from me, but I like to say I shared stuff that I like. It's something I thought was really cool. Guy ran a race in a DR200 and he absolutely smoked almost everybody there. And if you've got the skills to do it, and I don't, maybe he will, I don't know. But if you've got the skills to do it, these little bikes are pretty darn capable. DR200 is a cool bike. Anyway, next video is probably going to be about the Harley. It's almost done. So, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a good one.